Mr. Crapo, aye.
Okay. So, yeah, no, I know. I apologize for my audacity in taking a day to relax with my friends and shop a little bit. No. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Oh, thank you for the coffee, my love. The very nearly overtopping coffee. It's got a good foam. Okay, I'll talk to PV about it. Hope you had a good day. Yeah, I had a good day. I had a good day, and then fucking I'm out there at the mall, and God damn it. I'm out there at the mall, and I find out that I didn't even turn the lights on in here. I just got home. I find out that a group of Democrats has been meeting to discuss folding to the Republicans and passing their CR without concessions with regard to ACA tax subsidies, aka the thing the whole shutdown is about. I don't know whether they have the votes. I hear Schumer flipped. I know Tim Kaine is one of the Democrats who flipped. I need to hold on. I don't think the vote's gone through. Hello, River. Right now, Kaine's office isn't taking calls. Yeah, right now, Progressive Victory is spamming the fuck out of all the Democratic senators who they suspect...
Mr. Tillis, aye.
...are going through with this. We don't know whether this vote's going to go through.
Mr. Justice, aye. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mrs. Shaheen, aye.
Oh, it's so bright in here. Does anyone have an updated list on the flippers? On the people who have flipped? The only person I know of is Tim Kaine.
Hi, thank you. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Heinrich, no.
Ossoff was supposed to vote for it? What do you mean supposed to? What do you mean by that? Cortez Masto was another. He was already one of the Democrats who we knew was voting with Republicans. Fetterman, Cortez Masto, some others. Durbin is a yes. Oh shit, thank you, John. Hold on, I'll appreciate that in a bit when my country's not getting fucking betrayed. Rat fucked. Here's a stream with the count on screen? Yeah, sure, please.
No.
Okay, this isn't the vote then, right? This is just the roll call vote. Yeah. Motion to proceed to the consideration of H.R. 5371, the Continuing Appropriations and Extensions Act. Poirier predicts Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Gary Peters, Ossoff, Chris Coons, Jackie Rosen, Gene Shaheen, Maggie Hassan, Angus King, Cortez Masto. Well, what about Fetterman? Mark Kelly said no? Okay. Slotkin, Coons, and Kelly flipped from yes to no in the past hour. Okay, To anyone who's not following this, basically, the government has been shut down because the Republicans have refused to negotiate with Democrats at all. They need 60 votes to get through the Senate, right? Because of the filibuster. They would need 51 votes otherwise, but you need 60 votes because of the filibuster, which is like an informal rule, basically. They have not had 60 votes because not enough Democrats have agreed to the Republican version of the bill, which does not extend the ACA tax credits. The ACA tax credits are important because without them, broken a system as it is, poor people will have to pay way the fuck more for their health care. Like, in some cases, 2 to 3 times as much. Like, more than their rent. Like, a lot of people will literally not be able to have health care, essentially. That's the gist of it. And Republicans want people to die, so that's the train they're on. Democrats have been maintaining their position on the argument that they're fighting to protect Americans' health care. In fairness, they're correct. Agreeing to continue the funding without that provision secured is insane. It would cause so much suffering. But that's what the Democrats have held firm on. So far, the shutdown has been politically disastrous for Trump. Absolutely nightmarish. It led to a resounding defeat last Tuesday. It led to him getting fucking booed at the NFL game today. It has led to, like, mass shifts in popularity against him, you know? What's happening right now is working for the Democrats and for the American people. But I guess some cuck-ass fucking Democrat senators have been, you know, internally considering whether or not it might be beneficial to completely cave to the Republicans. What is happening here is that they're arguing for agreeing with the Republicans and voting for the Republican version of the bill, which includes funding through SNAP, on the condition that Republicans hold a vote on the ACA tax credits next month. Not that they vote for it, not that they vote yes, not that it gets passed, just that they'll, you know, consider it. So what the Republicans get is capitulation, everything they want, and an end to one of the greatest, like, periods of political terror for Trump he's ever experienced. And what Democrats get is a promise that in a month Republicans will be nice. That's what these people are caving on. The initial list that I heard of Democrats willing to cave was 11. But since then, some people have been shifting. For example, Schumer, allegedly, was originally a yes, and one of the guys who was leading the effort to sort of like back-end negotiate this, because, you know, it's Schumer, right? But according to Axios, from an hour ago, he said no. A couple other presumed yes votes have switched to no. So I think what's happening is that they're realizing how unpopular it would make them within the Democratic Party. It would probably guarantee this is their last term in office. Will the House stop it? Not up to them. Seven Dem yes votes, it's done. They have the 8. Is that it? King, Cortez, Masto, and Fetterman were the Democrats who are already voting with the Republicans on the CR. Rosen, Flip, they have 8. Phenomenal. This one's pretty bad, man. I saw even, fuck, what's his name, that retard? Iglesias on Twitter saying this makes no sense for the Democrats. Nobody likes this. Nobody agrees with this. Apparently House Dems are literally every single political figure that I am aware of outside of the specific Democrats named here is furious with what's happening. It's just an overwhelming wave of discontent. Biggest difference from last time is the party's not giving them any cover, unlike in March. Schumer voting no is forcing all the cavers to walk the plank and take ownership for it. Yeah, but he's still definitely the one that orchestrated it, or at least facilitated it. Otherwise, how could it have happened? He's the minority leader. Like, there's no way these deliberations took place without his knowing so. It's up, at the end of the day, that falls on him. Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries came out against it. Democrats just gave up the biggest position of leverage they've had since the beginning of the presidency, and probably the most disastrous 7 weeks of I don't know why I said 7 weeks. It's been 5. Disastrous 5 weeks of Trump's reputation since he became like a political figure, since he became president the first time. Schumer gave approval on the deal. Yeah. Schumer was more involved than reported with the attempted cave in the government shutdown. The Gang of 8 Senate Dems had his approval, and he was getting daily updates. The cave almost happened Thursday after the election. Jesus Christ. It was always the plan. It was always the plan. Newsom's against it too. Newsom isn't just against it. Newsom's got his, like, press office doing memes about it. Like, negative one. Yeah, no, again, everybody hates this. These people need to be thrown in prison? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, they do.
Ms. Ernst.
Sorry.
Aye.
I turned it back on. Obviously. I know I've said this 50 million times, but can this be the wake-up call where liberals understand the reason why I, or like lefties broadly, hate the party? I understand there's a lot of like clouded misinformation bullshit out there. There's lefties on Twitter who think every politician should be Stalin, whatever the fuck. But at the end of the day, like the Democrats fail at the most fundamental. They're just bad at doing their jobs. Well, if you want to be cynical, you could say that folding like this is their job. Sure, okay. But you understand what I mean. It's a breaking point that's indefensible. It was indefensible last time with Schumer and the stopgap bill. But every time we keep letting this shit slide. Schumer, remember what happened after Schumer and the Republicans, the Senate Democrats with him folded to the Republicans? Remember what political consequences there were? None. Everyone just shut up about it. I just asked Senator King what changed in the Dem caucus on ACA now, since Thune had offered them a vote weeks earlier. He said, I think the length of the shutdown. The question was, as the shutdown progresses, is a solution on the ACA becoming any more likely? It appears not. These people are weak and they don't know how to do politics. They just don't. We're in a Mexican standoff right now, where every day that passes, the Republicans hurt and the Democrats don't. And the Democrats just offered to not only bail the Republicans out, but cheapen their own bill. How now can Democrats say in the future that they fought to protect health care? No, you didn't. You gave up. I believe it's over, Ben. Though I appreciate the help from PV. That's why I got my mug. It's not over. We'll see. This will objectively change public perception. Yeah, no, this is 100% on the Democrats. How can Democrats claim Republicans caused all of the suffering that's going to happen in the near future? They've signed off on it. They've completely signed off on it. There's no... The Democrats have lost any right. The Democrats are essentially taking responsibility for the vote. 55. This is not the most up-to-date stream, Ben. For example... Oh, this is also from CNN. Wait. Where's the other one I was looking at? Oh, yeah, the PBS one doesn't have numbers on the screen. They're voting like right now. That is how time works. 56. The silver lining is the CR is only until January, so they can shut it down again if the GOP does not follow through on the healthcare thing. Still is a shit. Yeah, but they're not going to do it. Like that, like, we can't keep betting on this lame horse over and over and over again, man. Like it's if the Democrats are essentially saying up front, we fold the pressure. Even if the situation is advantageous to us, we will still fold if we are pressured to. Like the lesson here is like it actually doesn't matter if it politically benefits Democrats or Americans. They still will not hold because they're just fundamentally weak. What was the point of the whole shutdown if they cave now without getting anything? Nothing. And you know what? Every single person who suffered because of the shutdown, that's on the Democrats now. It is. Congratulations. Thanks, Dems. It is. If they were going to accept no capitulations anyway, they might as well have just accepted the Republican version of the CR back at the beginning. Now they've owned it. Okay, this is what you're fine with then. You were fine with not protecting the ACA credits and with the world's longest shutdown, which America's longest, which will now, by the way, be attributed purely to Democrat stubbornness. Because you folded. Was Schumer trying to reopen the government to force payments just for ACA credits to get voted down in December, just for them to vote no on the CR come January? I don't think there's really a plan here. I just think that Schumer hates you and loves Israel. I think that Schumer's upset with you because you have not died for Israel, and he is punishing you for your arrogance. Israel first. Can some higher-ranking Dem cancel this shit? Higher-ranking Dem than the Senate Minority Leader? No, I'm afraid not. If Akeem and Newsom are pissed about this, does this mean Schumer did this behind the rest of the party's back? Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, he's done this before. There are no consequences. Does the Democratic Party not have a leader of some kind? I'm not sure what you mean. There's a Senate Minority Leader because they're the minority in the Senate. There's a DNC chair, but that runs the party from a more operational perspective, like the allocation of funds, party strategy, not really like individual decision making, you know? Usually the leader in a party is just like the loudest person in it, effectively. And right now, unfortunately, that's Schumer. I mean, you could argue that Mamdani or AOC have more social capital, but I would say Schumer is right now demonstrating that he's got, you know, he has the enough social capital to tank the country. Everyone knows this is 60-vote threat. Yeah, Benjamin, our understanding is that enough votes have been secured. That being said, we are getting kind of close. Three of the 10 already voted no. Booker flip to no. Are we actually holding? Is it possible? Next Dem leader needs to make Hogg look like a moderate. Oh god, yeah, absolutely. We need to be way harder on our elected officials. Peters was
Mr. Booker, no.
Peters was expected to be a yes, but he's a no. Okay, so enough people are flipping, it might actually hold. Okay, Ossoff is a no, Gary Peters is a no. Okay, it might actually hold. Just barely. I wonder if Schumer's regretting flipping his vote. Chris Coons was a no too, as with Mark Kelly. Benjamin, are you and PV ready to take credit for some of these senators flipping? I'm going to lose my fucking mind. How many no votes do we need? One more no is needed. Just one. How much time left for vote? It's like infinite, basically. Gillibrand is also a no. Okay, that vote's already been counted. That's from 2 minutes ago. We're on the cutting edge right now. We're on the right now, okay? We will see the next vote. Hello, River. Why are the Dems folding? It looks like enough Dems aren't folding. Fetterman hasn't voted yet? Yeah, it takes a while for him to lug his fat ass over to the fucking desk. Yeah, Fetterman's gonna be a yes, but it doesn't matter. We just need one more no. There are 4 votes remaining. I don't know which 4 are remaining, apart from one of them being Fetterman. Oh, Fetterman's already voted! Okay. He's still fat. You need 60 yeses. So there need to be, everyone needs to be in attendance, and all 4 need to say yes right now. Even if the Dems hold, isn't it still bad that we flinch first? In any sane, functioning political party, the Democrats who have voted yes on this would face a degree of hatred and political backlash that would genuinely frighten them. Like, they would be, like, it would be overwhelming and unimaginable. In any sane country. Do we know who we're waiting on for votes? No, I do not know the 4 remaining votes. Oh, I saw Benjamin. I saw while driving home. Can somebody give me the list? Do we have a list? Does anyone know who the last 4 are? I know we could, like, go back and count. We could find the list of people who've already voted, then check against the full Senate list. I don't remember every senator. No list right now? Ugh. The 4 left are Republicans? Is that true? Can somebody confirm that? If that's the case, then it's really just a matter of attendance. My count says 1 Dem left? Okay. Cornyn, Johnson, Lee, and Scott. Take with a grain of salt, though. Reddit says we're waiting for 4 GOP senators to vote. Fuck. Then they might actually end up having enough. I guess we're just waiting on attendance then. Yeah, the yeses were Durbin, Hassan, King, Cortez Masto, Kane, Shaheen, Fetterman, and Rosen. That's 8 Democrat yeses. But it requires on full attendance from the Republicans. All the Republicans will be forced into attendance, probably. Yeah, they don't want to miss this. Did Rand vote already, actually? We've listed, allegedly, you know, again, I don't want to go and cross-check every... Allegedly 4 remain. And they're all Republicans. They can still change their vote until the gavel, can't they? Yes. What do you think, Schumer's gonna come in with a yes? Wait, is Rand Paul one of the 4? I'm sorry, I came back from a good day out to find out the country is ending or something. I'm very out of it. No? Okay, yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there. I was under the impression that he had already voted. All it takes is one, patriot. Yeah, where's John McCain? Me going down to hell. McCain, you son of a bitch. We've got another job for you. For Jamie Dupree, Cornyn, Texas, Johnson, Wisconsin, Lee, Utah, and Scott, Florida. Well, all of those people have voted with Republicans in the past, no? So, if they're all present, if they're all there, that's that. Clearly, they're not in the room right now. Or maybe there are, they're just deliberating. Apparently Rand Paul and Warren are chatting and Paul's vote is outstanding. He might have already voted, but it's possible that he's going to change his vote. I'm so fucking mad right now. Crazy how this guy might get everything he wants. Yeah, oh, yeah. Senate Democrats saw this, and they were like, man, we're in the hot seat right now. We gotta do whatever Trump says.
I am saying your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend.
My favorite detail here is that Trump said, I state name here. State your name. He's so fucking cooked.
I am saying your name.
Incredible, really. It's such a joke, man. It's such a joke.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies.
This is the guy that Dems are losing to. He's swearing people in? Oh, he's not like reading off of some pre-written like pledge relating to the game or something like that. Ah, that's less fun. Sorry. Lefty misinfo. Ken Martin also speaking out. Yet nobody is happy. Nobody is happy. I am proud of the majority of Senate Democrats who oppose this vote. Whoa, careful, Ken Martin. Wouldn't want to get too fucking partisan. Wouldn't want to get too partisan with our messaging from the DNC chair role, you know? Me and Sam think these Dems are intentionally tanking energy to stop progressives from beating centrists in the party. That they'd rather have a minority than be forced to cut ties with donors? Maybe, but I don't see how doing this makes them any less vulnerable to getting primaried by progressives. If anything, it makes them like way more vulnerable to it. I have no doubt that they're doing this for some evil reason, you know? I'm solid on that. They got paid 100%. I just think they have a close relationship with their donors, and their donors probably don't like the idea of, you know, 20% of American flights shutting down or whatever. GOP Senators Mike Lee, Rick Scott, Ron Johnson all walked onto the floor together and haven't voted. Leader Thune seemed to move quickly toward them. Once they showed, he talked with them with some other senators joining in. He then went to talk to Susan Collins with McConnell and a few others standing in a circle. Okay. Well, Mike Lee will obviously vote with, because he's, you know, a MAGA neo-Nazi freak. There's no reason any of them wouldn't vote for the CR. You know, it's Ro Khanna calling for Schumer's removal. It doesn't matter. He's not a senator. I was feeling optimistic with Mamdani winning his race, so I switched from independent to Democrat. Then the Washington Democrats cucked to the right. I'm so disappointed. I don't know why I expected anything different. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the Mamdani is an enemy of the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is an enemy of the American people. They're just less obvious and incompetent about it than Republicans are, at least in some respects. I feel like it's kind of a lose-lose this far in. If it fails, I feel like Trump's going to push to abolish the filibuster extremely hard. No, he's failed. The Thune will not do it. They're not going to do it. The senators care way more about, like, preserving the Senate after Trump's gone. Look, everyone sees the writing on the wall. Trump is dementia-addled, has frequent strokes, and is a fat loser. And his popularity is in the fucking water. Republicans are aware of the fact that the Republican Party is going to need to continue to exist after him, especially senators. You know, congressmen come and go, representatives, but senators tend to stay. And Republican senators are probably aware of the fact that, you know, long-term damage they do from their role might come back to haunt them later in their life, because they want to keep these careers, these cushy careers for a long time. AOC with a weak as fuck response. The average SNAP benefit per month is $177 per person. The average ACA benefit per month is up to $550 per person. People want us to hold the line for the reason that is not a matter of appealing to the base, it's about people's lives. And working people want leaders whose word means something to them. What the fuck is this? Seriously? I'm so over her, man. She's such a fucking pussy. All of that, you know, energy going into your election, you're gonna change politics, and then, like, what you are... like, you refuse to use language that calls out the Democratic establishment. Republicans consistently are more ballsy than she is. Like, AOC could just say she hates Schumer. There would be no political consequences. Lovash, I thought you were breaking your own neck. I fucking wish. Isn't there already irreversible damage to the GOP's reputation for a shutdown this long? But if this goes through, the Democrats will be the ones responsible for the shutdown. The Democrats have just been... the Republicans have been refusing to negotiate. If the Democrats just end up capitulating to the demand the Republicans made from the beginning, then why wait 37, 38 days? Why wait that long? Yeah, now there's no point to it. We didn't hold out for any reason at all. There was no point to the suffering. The Democrats just decided to, because they were inconsistent and weak, they just waited a while before eventually agreeing to Republicans. It turns this big fight into essentially just Democrats stalling before capitulating. I think AOC might be trying to gain clout for a presidential or Senate run. She's not trying to poke the Schumer bear. There is no Schumer bear, though. He's, like, extremely unpopular, and even people in the Senate, Democrats in the Senate, don't like him. He's broadly unpopular, you know? I unironically hate Schumer more than Trump. You should. Traitor Dems are holding a press conference. Is anyone bringing tomatoes? Oh my god. 5 of the 8 Senate Democrats who provided the requisite votes to advance the funding agreement. Shaheen, this was the only deal on the table. Thank you. Does anyone have a video of that press conference? Or a live feed? Please let this have consequences. It won't. I've seen this happen before. This might be the most egregious version, sure, but it won't. It's all gonna get swept up under the rug. All of the big, high-energy blue wave accounts will keep focusing primarily on Trump. Schumer will remain unpopular, but nobody's going to do anything about it. Schumer just posted? Oh, boy. Oh, my God, he's backing out.
For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the health care crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
Spectacular. What a useless sack of shit. He's not useless. He set this up, and he doesn't want to take the fall for it. He orchestrated the shift in votes, but wanted to wants to keep his seat next election. So he changed it. So is he changing his vote? He already voted no. Doesn't it look more like this vote failed? No, because the 4 remaining votes are Republicans, and they're all there, and they all hate you, and hate life itself. It may actually be a controlled opposition. None of the Dems that voted yes are up for re-election in 2026, with 2 retiring altogether this year. Yeah, no, it's in all likelihood, Schumer wanted to reopen the government because Israel told him to. Netanyahu called him or something. The ghost of Israel's past. I don't know. So he whipped up the most, like, not necessarily politically safe, but either they're retiring or they're not up for re-election or they're the most pliable. Like, he's looking for Democratic senators who are very pliable, very subservient to Capitol, very okay with capitulating to Republicans, but also ones that are retiring anyway or who aren't up for re-election in 2026. Like him. He's up in 2028. But then Schumer himself votes no because, you know, he wants to stay party head forever. Another clip from the Coward Conference. Just find me the full video, please.
And this is only the first steps. So let me be clear. No one in the Senate chamber wants to extend the ACA tax credits more than I do. I introduced that legislation in 2019. I fought successfully to pass it in 2021 and 2023, and I am 100% committed to getting this done.
Phenomenal. Can somebody please give me the full video? If you can find clips, you can find the full video.
Should negotiate. To me, this idea of a left or right or more progressive on ACA subsidies, almost 80% of Americans want the subsidies to continue. That's not left or right. That's right and wrong. Almost 60% of Republicans want the ACA subsidies to continue. Chuck Schumer should have negotiated a better deal. He should have been in the public more. He's not a bad guy, any stretch. He's just not the right person at the right time. We're going through a different time. You're dealing with a GOP that's an anti-democratic movement. They don't care what the American people think on an issue like this. So I think, honestly, this is the end of Chuck Schumer as we go forward.
What do you think of that, Anthony?
You know, I've never been a Chuck Schumer fan.
Look at this, 2 votes.
But I'm not ready to write his obituary just yet. I mean, you don't get to be the Senate Democratic leader for as long as he has without some raw political skills. And
Right. Live vid of conference. Thank you, Dim Light. Finally, somebody taking initiative around here.
Well, good evening, everybody. At a time when families desperately need relief, Washington's dysfunction is making life harder for families.
Getting senators speaking out when
achieving some needed support for the extension of the tax credits. Our judgment was that it would not produce that result. And the evidence for that is almost 7 weeks of fruitless attempts to make that happen. would it change in a week or another week or after Thanksgiving or Christmas? And there's no evidence that it would. What there is evidence of is the harm that the shutdown is doing to the country. What it's doing to millions of federal workers, but also what it's doing to tens of millions of recipients of SNAP.
Just owning it. Just flat out, just straight up owning it, you know? God, not to mention like how bad it would be for Trump politically to own the fact that he's refusing and fighting constantly to pay out SNAP payments, even though he has the money for it. Just owning it, just flat out. Yeah, sorry, all the suffering for the past 39 days, we just took a while to come to our senses. The Republicans were right. It's literally the message here.
This is a true crisis for those individuals. Soup kitchens can't fill the gap. Food pantries can't fill the gap. SNAP is an essential part of the food, the food provision program in this country. And so we were faced with a strategy or a series of steps that wasn't working to achieve the goal we wanted with regard to the ACA, but it was at the same time creating hardship and difficulty for millions of people across this country.
You know that it's controlled opposition territory when the language here isn't even condemning Republicans. Like, he's acting as though the Republicans shutting down and refusing to negotiate is a force of nature that he has to work around. Like, oh, yeah, which this is just something we have to navigate and it's been difficult. No language like Republicans have refused to do X, refused to do Y. He won't do that because, again, like, you know, it's a uniparty, so on and so forth.
So I believe that we are closer tonight to a vote on the ACA tax credits than we were this morning. Because part of this agreement, and you heard the majority leader on the floor today say he is committed to putting a bill on the floor before the second week in December that would be drafted by the Democrats concerning health care in the ACA. That is a big step.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, there's no way for the minority to get a bill onto the floor of the U.S. Senate. It has to be through the office of the majority leader. So that was a major step to get the majority leader to agree to make that commitment tonight on the Senate floor.
They really are just... You know how Republicans campaign? Correct, they're correct to do this, as though their base are idiots and will believe anything. The problem is that Democrats are trying to play that same game, but to a smarter base. You'd have to be a fucking moron to buy this. Oh yeah, man. I'm sure the Republicans that are so opposed to extending the ACA tax subsidies that they were willing to keep the government shut down for 39 days and not even negotiate over it. I'm sure those people will just vote in favor of it next month. For sure, 100%. You might be able to guarantee that a vote goes through, but you can't guarantee what their votes are going to be.
So the sum is we are closer to the possibility of work on the ACA.
Yeah, that's about as much as his words are worth, I suppose.
A week ago, 2 weeks ago, or a month ago. So this agreement tonight is a win for the American people. And it's a win for those people that are so insistent that I'm hearing from all the time, protect our health care. Our judgment is the best way to do that is to get a bill on the floor. Is there a guarantee it will pass? No. Is it a guarantee it will pass in the House? There is actually some very strong interest in the House, a possibility of a bipartisan bill and to get a discharge petition, and then perhaps we're on the way. And we have that expression from
Mike Johnson explicitly said he wouldn't do this before. Yeah, he is. Mike Johnson has literally said that he would not.
He's offered them a vote. You know what they told him in response? No, we need you to guarantee the outcome of that vote. Well, that's ridiculous. That can't be done.
From the Senate, will you assure the House members that they'll get a vote? House Democrats, they'll get a vote on ACA subsidies by a date certain?
No, because we did our job, and I'm not part of the negotiation. The House did its job on September 19th. I'm not promising anybody anything. I'm going to let this process play out. I'll tell you what they wanted. I'll tell you what Schumer and Jeffries wanted. In fact, Chuck Schumer said it publicly and decried that Thune and I would not go in a back room with them and make a four corners agreement on Obamacare subsidies. And I said, there's no way. That it was never possible or appropriate for that to be.
They just hate you, man. They just hate you.
Senators who are interested in working on a bill that will deal with the ACA issue and perhaps additional health care issues at the same time. So what happened tonight is not the closing of a chapter, it's the opening of an opportunity. What the chapter it does close is the damaging shutdown that is only getting worse, that is only going to impact more and more people. And it's an opportunity for
if
us.
the ACA tax credits don't get extended, doesn't that just hurt Trump more? No, actually, it would hurt Trump and Democrats now because the Democrats did this. It's their fault. They accepted this. If you're in a stalemate and Republicans refuse to negotiate but you compromise, you own the outcome. That's what a stalemate is. If the government shuts down because neither side can agree to an outcome and the Democrats move over to the Republicans to do their outcome, you literally voted for it. You own it. Democrats passed the CR that didn't include the ACA tax credits.
To move forward on behalf of all the people of this country on the issue of health care, but also on making the federal government function. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. At a time when families desperately need relief, Washington's dysfunction is making life harder for families, and the last 39 days are proof of that. A record-long government shutdown paired with record-high health insurance cost increases is not the kind of history.
I've said this before, but like a huge amount of political will, like the will to power, the ability to get things done, you know? It ultimately comes down to narrative and the ability to make people feel like what they're doing is worth it. That's why politicians who say what they can do are almost always more effective than politicians who remind people what they can't do. You want people to feel good about getting on board with a topic. And if you get people feeling good about a project, you can get them to sign off on suffering. Tons and tons of Republicans have continued to support Trump even though their lives have been made materially worse by him because they believe their suffering is an incidental outcome of a broader successful project, you know? What the Democrats are insistent on doing time and time again is reminding you that everything is for nothing. There are no projects. There are no beliefs. There's nothing to fight for. There's nothing your suffering is meaningless. This shutdown, it was meaningless. The time you went without SNAP payments, it was meaningless. There are no outcomes worth fighting for. That's it.
That the American people want Congress to make. Over the last several weeks, I've heard from Granite Staters who can't afford a doubling of their health insurance costs. I've also heard from families about the deep pain that the government shutdown has caused, made worse by a president who illegally and repeatedly chose to cut off help for families who are just trying to buy groceries. After weeks of bipartisan conversations...
Hold on. From Dick Durbin.
Yeah, but I mean, some people would think that this is a capitulation if you only agree to a standalone vote.
Need to understand how the Senate works. We brought this.
Sorry, peasant. I know it might look like we're betraying you and signing the country off to evil sociopath pedophiles, but in reality, you just don't understand. Did you know that in order for a bill to be put forward to vote in the Senate majority leader needs to approve it? Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, next month they're going to put forward a bill that all the Republicans will vote no on. It won't pass, but like, won't that be, like, we couldn't have done that otherwise. Thank you. Okay, anyway.
This issue is a major national issue from zero to a major factor, I think, in the last election. And I think we're going to continue to make it an issue as we...
I love the gerontocracy. You guys are not ready for the millennial and Gen X Democratic senators who are going to be just as bought by fucking capital interests.
I voted today to reopen the government so that we can get back to the work of helping Granite Staters. This agreement funds SNAP and food assistance programs, ensures that law enforcement, air traffic controllers, and other federal workers get paid, reverses the president's recent reckless layoffs, and prevents them from happening in the future, and crucially,
by the way, what she just said right there is the reason why the final few Republicans have yet to cast their vote. This version of the bill does reinstate federal workers, which I don't fucking care about, to be honest with you. But it also prevents them from being fired again. And I think some of the hardliner far-right Republicans in the Senate don't like the idea of signing off on a bill that limits the president's power.
Gives Congress a clear path forward to protecting people's health care. Our work to deliver relief for families now enters an important phase.
Save us, Based Mike Lee.
Congress has 1 month.
Based Mike Lee, Hyperborean warrior, soldier of the Aryan people, I beg of thee, okay? Defend us by defending Trump. Don't let this pathetic bipartisan CR pass that would place limits on the... Be a patriot. Defend him.
To engage in serious bipartisan negotiations to extend the Affordable Care Act's expiring tax cuts that help people afford their health insurance. And let's be really clear, part of what has been happening is the time period to make that meaningful extension of these
As a person who relies heavily on SNAP and receives the maximum amount, I'd rather starve than give in to these fascists. I understand what you say right now might be hyperbolic, or it might sound hyperbolic. I genuinely think that with a good Democratic Party, the vast majority of Democrats would agree with that sentiment. The idea of, like, our country is being raped to death by octogenarian pedophiles, and the only chance we have at holding firm here is by, like, maintaining our position on this, no matter what comes the cost. And if the Democrats were strong on that, I think that people would gladly... Man, people make sacrifices during, like, wartime all the time. We are fighting a war right now. It's just that rather than it being some foreign war where we bomb people who throw sticks and rocks at our tanks or whatever, it's a domestic war where the thing we're fighting for is, like, the concept of a continued republic, you know? And the other side is like an army of pedophiles or whatever. It's worth sacrifice. And I understand it's rich. I'm a live streamer. I'm worth $50 billion. I know I'm the world's 7th richest man working on 6. I know. So it's, for me, it's all rhetoric. I understand this and I'm aware of my privilege. Thank you, you fucking woke-tard. However, don't you agree? People are willing to suffer if it's for a good cause. I believe in suffering for a good cause. I think it's good to believe in people's ability and right to do that. What matters, obviously, is the cause, you know? The hard times are coming up ahead. This right here is nothing. Buddy, the debt clock is running up, okay? The debt clock is running up. Those ACA tax subsidies, the amount of money that people are missing out on by not being able to get their SNAP benefits is nothing compared to the amount of money that people are going to lose paying for their ACA premiums once those tax credits expire at the end of the year. You know, a lot of suffering is ahead, a huge amount of suffering. And what the Democrats do over and over and over and over and over again is remind you that it's for nothing. There's no point. You're suffering for no reason, actually. Like, everything was always going to be this way and it achieved nothing. Like, there was no point to it. You just suffered incidentally. Your suffering is like a rounding error in God's checkbook. You know, it means absolutely nothing. There's no heroism here. There's no victory. It's all just failure and capitulation and, you know, one day you die. That's it.
Cuts has been dwindling. We are getting closer.
I almost hate them more than Republicans. Join me. I hate the moderate Democrats more than Republicans easily. Again, it's a know your game kind of thing. Okay, we know the Republicans are evil. I've never shied away from saying so. The Democrats are, in addition to being evil in many of the same ways, to be honest with you, are so politically ineffective, so willing to capitulate, so maliciously incompetent. It's people always hate traitors worse than demons. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Perfect way of saying it. Everyone hates traitors the most, obviously. Republicans are traitors to the country broadly, but at least we know what they're about. Of course, yeah, that's just how it is. You know, you should hate the Democrats more. You should, 100%.
And closer to the time in which families have to decide whether they can buy their health insurance or not and enroll in health insurance in this coming year. So my Democratic colleagues and I have been ready to work on this issue, on extending these tax cuts for months. With the government reopening shortly, Senate Republicans now finally have to come to the table. Or, make no mistake, Americans will remember who stood in the way. So
yeah, man. Yep. We capitulated so that Americans would have the opportunity to be reminded of who doesn't want to pass the ACA tax credits. That's what this whole shutdown was about. Well, you see, when Republicans inevitably vote against the extension of the tax credits in a month, Americans will be mad. Wow.
So I urge Speaker Johnson to finally return the House of Representatives into session and quickly reopen the government. And I urge all Americans in communities red, blue, and purple to continue to speak out about the importance of affordable health care so that families across America.
You want to send me the... Oh, Tempest, are you still there? Text me or DM me or whatever.
Thank you.
Are you here? Yeah, I would love it if you could put this out.
Thank you. And I thank my colleagues for their good work.
Hold on. Can you put this at the beginning of the segment? Because it's all like a crawl of breaking news stuff. You know what? No, fuck it. Wait, are you watching? Give me a message.
The vote tonight, and you've heard all of us talking about this, the vote tonight was crucial to open the government because too many Americans, hardworking individuals, seniors, children.
You are here? Okay, cool. Yeah, let me, in a second, I'll cut off the segment and I'll send it over. The opening bit, everything up until we start watching this press conference, yeah, just put that out. I don't know. You can just make it the same as the stream title. I don't know. Traitor Dems, bend to Republicans, abandon healthcare and reopen government, something like that. Gems, we are the traitor gems. Actually, that's the same. It's the no spoilers or whatever, but that's probably what they called them on Homeworld. You know what I'm saying?
We're suffering. I know in Nevada, particularly that is based on a service industry, tourism and travel, we are doubly hit. Tariffs, bad policies of this administration, and the shutdown was having an impact on travel to our state and quite honestly across the country. But it wasn't just that. We have federal workers that were suffering. We have TSA agents. We have airport controllers. And we were seeing lines to our food banks in northern Nevada. These were lines that I hadn't seen since the pandemic.
Yeah, and everyone was blaming Trump for it. Cornyn never showed up to the Senate building. Nobody knows where he is. In her final act of political service to the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi, dressed head to toe in black, has fucking stalked the Capitol building, looking to end the vote. It will let it never pass.
The stories were horrific. Seniors in line, needing food because they couldn't get access to the food that they usually would get at the federal level.
My love, could I have a refill
on the coffee?
One man
came and refused to say who he was because he was embarrassed and said I shouldn't be here, but he needed the food.
Yes, please.
Mothers
Thank you.
coming to the food bank to get food for their children.
Thank you, thank you.
My colleagues know that opening the government was key to stopping that pain. But here's the thing. We can open the government and we can still fight to address this looming healthcare crisis. It is true. Right now, in our states and across the country, Americans are seeing higher costs, higher premiums for their Affordable Care Act. These are people that need access to healthcare.
If you believe these people weren't evil, this is like such an Occam's razor thing, where if you think that these people are merely incompetent, you have to explain away so much. Like, every moderate Democrat, when they fold, when they capitulate, when they show weakness, like, you have to, like, no, these, like, 30-year veteran senators who have sat in the halls of power for as long as I've been alive just keep making obvious fucking blunders all the time in ways that consistently benefit the opposition. You have to jump through some fucking hoops to not buy the controlled opposition bit. Well, I don't think it's controlled opposition in the sense that Republicans control the Democrats. I don't think that's true at all. I do think the same set of lobbyists and donors control, to a large extent, both parties. Probably have more control over the Democrats than the Republicans, actually, because the Republicans are a cult of personality based around Trump. And they've openly defied capital interests multiple times just because Trump's ego directed them to. Whereas in the case of the Democrats, like, a cult of personality around fucking who? What does this party have besides their donors?
I have families that rely on the Affordable Care Act and these subsidies so that their children who have a rare disease can access their medication.
That's great.
I have small businesses who rely on the Affordable Care Act and the subsidies to help cover the cost for their employees.
Cool that you just voted on a CR that doesn't extend those tax credits. Then you just voted for it. You just voted for a bill that guarantees that those tax credits don't get renewed. You just did that. You just did that. You did.
This is a fight that the Republicans need to understand is not just happening in Nevada. It is happening across the country in every state, including those red states. This fight tonight is, I agree with Senator Angus, is just the beginning. This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country. Let me just say this. With the government open, we can focus on passing a full bipartisan budget for 2026.
Oh yeah, that's been going so well lately. The bipartisan budget negotiations, those have been going fucking phenomenally. Yeah, I bet.
That starts with a minibus that will restore funding that President Trump cut. It delivers millions of dollars in critical funding to states like Nevada all across the country. And it, you will hear, blocks the administration from future rifts. We have an opportunity also to put Republicans on the record on the ACA. Are they committed to doing this?
As opposed to this? Are they not already on the record? This is America's longest government shutdown in all of history because they don't want to renew those tax credits. How could this possibly not already be? I love you, thank you. How could this not already be an indicator? How is this not on the record? It's going down in the history books, man. It's not just on the record. People are going to be reading about this shit in fucking high school AP history classes. Again, you have to be insane to think that this is just genuine incompetence as opposed to malicious incompetence. You have to be you so charitable that it's actually a mental illness to believe, oh no, she just thought that up until now nobody thought this was like a fighting issue, you know?
Are they committed? Leader Thune said he would come to the table on a health care once the government was open, and now he must follow through. If Republicans want to join us in lowering costs for working families, they have the perfect opportunity to show.
While Trump's up there up to some monkey business, I'm over here standing on business.
American public. I expect Republicans
Hey,
to
we might get the Epstein files soon if the House opens. The House is closed because Mike Johnson keeps it closed. The government shutdown doesn't affect Congress. They can... Mike Johnson has been week after week failing to reopen the House because of the Epstein vote.
At the table in
59-40, one more vote. Yeah, it's a yeah.
the next few weeks. I expect the White House to be at the table, and if they do choose not to come to the table, they can own the disastrous.
This bill needs to go back to Congress because there are changes from the House bill. Ah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Has to go back there anyway. Mike Johnson is going to be like, okay, everyone, we're just going to look at one thing, and then we're all going back on vacation until you stop fucking bringing up Epstein, okay? Just one thing. Fucking seriously, guys.
Increases that will continue to rise. They will own the fact that Americans across this country are going to lose access to health care. We were elected in the Senate to work on real solutions that help working families. It's our response.
Maybe this was the play. Oh my fucking God, guys. Holy shit. Listen up, gang. Here's the plan. We're going to sacrifice the political reputations of a handful of moderate Senate Democrats so that we can get the vote to exactly 60-40, but one person will show up late. Republicans, meanwhile, will be convening over at the House to quickly reopen the House so that they can vote on the bill that we're going to send enough people for if the 60th yes vote shows up. Then, the moment Mike Johnson goes to reopen the House, all of a sudden, boom, Grijalva shows up. Epstein files, they get through, everyone's already in the Senate building instantly. I'm telling you guys, it's genius. Schumer, I gotta hand it to you.
Responsibility to work not only here amongst ourselves, but across the aisle to solve these problems for the Americans, make their lives a little bit easier.
What would happen if the files got released? Absolutely nothing.
And that's what we have done tonight.
So, hey, everybody, I'm the cleanup hitter because I joined this group I joined it 48 hours ago. Not for lack of interest. And
Appreciate that he's dressed like a clown, so we have that too.
To applaud Gene Shaheen and this group because they have been having open meetings that anybody could participate in on negotiation. But I had my hands full focused on the Virginia elections until Wednesday morning. And as soon as that was over, I have now engaged with a particular purpose in mind. I knew the Democratic appropriators led by Patty Murray were going to do the very best job they could to get these 3 approach bills queued up and moving forward. A bill, for example, that has very robust SNAP funding, very robust funding for the VA. I had confidence in that. And I had confidence in these guys that they were going to get the best possible deal they could get from Republicans on the ACA. We were in a situation where SNAP recipients were suffering, and there was no guarantee we would ever get to an ACA solution. Now we've got robust SNAP funding and a guaranteed vote, not a guaranteed outcome, but a guaranteed vote on ACA.
No, I would say it's a pretty guaranteed outcome. No, don't sell yourself short, man. I would say that you've pretty much secured a guaranteed outcome next month for the ACA tax subsidy extension. Don't sell yourself short, man. Come on.
ACA tax credits. But I engaged on the issue that I've been talking about for a month on the floor to Senator Thune, Katie Britt, Lindsey Graham, James Lankford, anybody who would listen to me on the Republican side. I've said what I need in Virginia, with 320,000 federal employees who live in households that probably encompass nearly 650 or 700,000 residents in my state, I need a moratorium on mischief.
Monkey
my Virginians
business.
have been suffering under this administration. The shutdown started on January 20. I need a moratorium on the punishing of the federal workforce. That's what I need. And so I joined this group to make sure that we could get important protection.
Liberals like this are falling for the bait. Listen, okay, I know some liberals are going to be fucking stupid and like defend this. The amount of hatred that I'm seeing directed towards the Democrats right now, even from moderate Dems, is so overwhelming. Like on social media, I don't know if it'll hold, but I think that like, at least on some level, this is a new line that's been crossed. Like this is such an obvious capitulation, and a lot of like regular rank and file Democrats, like voters. I mean, like regular, just normal people who are Democratic voters, who have been suffering because of the federal government shutdown, are going to be furious about the way this ended. You know, like this is like a lifelong grudge thing. Can you imagine having to like tell your child that you're not going to be able to make them the meal that they normally like to have after school because of the snap cuts? You probably wouldn't explain the snap cuts to them. But in your head, you're thinking, I really hope the Democrats hold their feet firm because I really need those ACA tax credits as well. And then the Democrats fucking fold, make 5.5 weeks of your suffering irrelevant, and then also don't get the ACA tax extensions. This is like a lifelong hatred thing, you know? This is the shit that led Ronins to wander the forest looking for the man who killed their master 30 years ago type shit. It's people are going to be fucking furious forever.
For federal employees. And what we have in this bill is the restoration of all the furloughed employees and a guarantee of their back pay, the restoration of all RIFT employees who got RIFT after October 1 with all of their back pay, and a guarantee of no RIFs. No RIFs going forward. 2 million federal workers, not just my 300,000.
How long does John Cornyn have to show up? How long does he have? Like, I know these votes can take forever. Are we talking like an hour, 10 hours? How long are we going for here?
2 million federal workers who are not uniform military now have a guarantee of no RIFs going forward. So they don't have to go into the holiday season with anxiety about what's going to show
They'll
up.
hold indefinitely if they have to. Best case scenario here is that he takes so long to get to DC. Like, you know, he tries to fly over, the flight gets canceled. You know how it is right now. Or yeah, Pelosi got his ass. That one of the traitor Dems switches their vote.
On their email one morning at 5:30 a.m. That's a big win for 2 million federal employees, and added together with these other ingredients of robust appropriations bills and a guaranteed path forward to vote on fixing the ACA, that made me sign on and say, yes, we can do it. I had a number of Republicans on the floor tonight said, we were amazed that you got that no RIF guarantee in there. And I'm glad that we did, and we all worked so hard on it together, and I have huge respect for my colleagues who made this happen. Thanks.
Senator, you say you're fighting on the Affordable Care Act. What do you say to your colleagues who say this isn't a fight, this is a capitulation? You're putting together, you're agreeing to a vote on a bill that it almost certainly will not become law, and you're allowing that to happen.
Well, first of all, there was, as long as the government shut down, the clear statement from Senator Thune and the Republican.
She was about to say was what she was about to say was, as long as the government shutdown ends, that's what I care about.
Majority, and they control the Senate, the House, the White House, was we will not talk about health care with you. So there was no vote that we were going to get on the Affordable Care Act, premium tax credits.
Guys, I tried negotiating, but it was hard. They said they didn't like my initial offer. Then they gave me an unreasonable offer, and then they, like, left. What do I do?
We have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date on a bill that we will write. Not that the Republicans will write, although...
Are you like, again, this, I need everyone watching this to understand. They are your enemy. This woman is your enemy. She knows perfectly well that the Republicans will not vote for the ACA tax extension when the bill gets voted on next month. She 100% knows. She's not, it's not stupidity. It's not, oh, she's so dumb. She knows. She's just betting that you're dumb. And you're watching me, so odds are yes. But she's betting that you're dumb. That's why she's saying this. She's fully aware. She knows that it's bullshit. She's been bought. Maybe she's been bought. Maybe she never cared to begin with. It doesn't matter. Her motivations are irrelevant, you know? It's tempting always to, like, turn over in your head, why did the traitor betray us, you know? But past a certain point, sometimes people are just sus. You know, you have to accept reality as it presents itself to you.
I do think it's important for us to engage with them because we need a bipartisan bill that we know is going to get enacted to provide the relief that Americans need. And I think there's a commitment on the part of many of our colleagues to do that.
But there's no guarantee this will become law.
There was never a guarantee that it would become law.
Well, just to follow up on that, Senator, because we understand that this vote will happen, but a vote on extending the tax credits, it does not guarantee that it's going to happen. So how do you explain, though, to your constituents why it was worth it to put up this fight for so long when in the end...
See, and this is correct rhetoric now. Yeah, now it's on them. Congratulations. Now it's the Democrats' fault that we had a shutdown. Yep, this is right. Why fucking wait if nothing changed?
And you did not get your key demand.
Then they're pitching it amongst themselves, like, who wants to deal with this bull? Who wants to wipe this bullshit up, you know? We shouldn't have to answer these questions. We're senators. Our job is to, take dirty money and feel important when we get invited to dinners with contractors. You know, why do we have to? Yeah, we're above you. You're a peasant.
Because it wasn't working. How long would it take?
We lost.
To not get a response to say it isn't working. In other words, it's been 6 weeks. There's been the Republicans made it clear they weren't going to discuss the health care issue, the Affordable Care Act tax credits, until the shutdown was over. We tried to keep working that for 6 weeks. It didn't happen. The vote that we have, there's not a guarantee for sure. It's more of a guarantee. Here's the way I would put it. As I assessed it, there was zero chance of dealing with the ACA.
I think they're just naive. You can't think they're naive. You can't think that it is dangerous to the country if you think that this is naive, because this is how they keep getting away with it over and over and over and over again. When people tell you who they are, you have to believe them.
As long as the shutdown continued. Now, I don't know, 50-50, but there's a lot better chance now than there was this morning, because nothing was happening and there was no evidence that another week or another 2 weeks or Thanksgiving or Christmas was suddenly the Republicans were going to come to us and say, oh, we want to now talk about the ACA. If they weren't going to do it by now, what's going to change in the next 2 weeks that's going to make them do it? And that was really the assessment. again, I would say, right, as of this morning, there was a 0 chance of having a work on
I
the
appreciate him just straightforwardly saying that he can be bullied into voting for Republican bills indefinitely into the future, you know?
ACA. Now, there's a measurable chance. Will it be everything that everybody wanted? No, because we need 60 votes. And so there's going to be a negotiation. But Republicans have already started saying, well, here, you know, if you did this or did that, maybe we can get there. So I would take a reasonable chance against no chance every day. And that's...
Just betting on you being stupid. There is no reasonable chance. The chance is 0% that Republicans randomly decide to suddenly vote for the ACA tax extension.
And the other piece is, and we didn't really emphasize this, there are 3 important appropriations bills in this that would lock in SNAP for the rest of the year at a very substantial rate, plus other benefits, veterans funding.
Did anyone else vote yet? Cornyn is the only person who hasn't voted. It's 40-59. Nobody knows where Cornyn is. Our only hope is that he's been disappeared or that he's getting molested by a TSA agent right now and is going to be delayed so long that one of the traitor Dems changes their votes. Or, I don't know, a groiper on Twitter tells Mike Lee that it would be epic and based if he cucked Israel by changing his vote to a no, and then we get that. You know, I don't know.
Is guaranteed if we get these 3 bills through. So there's a plus on that. And I think the odds are that we have a better chance of doing something
Mike
about
Lee,
the ACA
my Hyperborean warrior.
Not going into this.
Please.
At some point, you have to decide, you know, what is the best strategic step forward. And we believe that the evidence is that what we were doing wasn't working, and therefore, let's try something else.
And the real question is, why would a president of the United States pit hungry children against sick children? And that is what President Trump has done. I mean, this is outrageous. We can't reach agreement on government funding, so the government shuts down, and even though the law is clear that he could fund SNAP benefits during a shutdown, he did not.
Yeah, that was like a really tough political position that he was in. It was making a lot of people really, really, really angry at him. But nah, you know.
And then he also said, and by the way, I don't really care if people's health insurance...
Democrats are so stupid, I can't. I need that. They're not stupid. They just hate you. They're just evil pedophiles. I'm so... You can't... It's not their stupid. They know what they're saying is wrong.
Premiums get so high they can't afford their care. That's on Donald Trump. My vote today was to do 2 things, both equally morally important and imperative. One is to make sure that the government is functioning so that our kids eat, so that our elderly citizens eat, so that our air traffic controllers can get some sleep and earn money.
Being an evil pedophile is stupid. You've outmaneuvered me. Congratulations. Would you like my channel? I'll give you the stream key.
Get paid while they are working, so that our veterans are protected, and continue the fight to a realistic platform to get the premium tax cuts done. And if that is not successful, then shame on the Republican Party and shame on Donald Trump.
Shame.
But the American people will see who stands with them on health care and who does not. And that will be the platform of the next stage of the fight. I hope we can find bipartisan agreement on an extension of those premium tax credits. In New Hampshire, couples who are 60 years old or so, earning $85,000 a year, are seeing like a $15,000 increase in their insurance premiums. This has to get fixed. And we have about
my vote blue no matter who. Priors are getting challenged, guys. Only 13 minutes left for our vote. No sign of corn anywhere. Why is there only 13 minutes left? My understanding was that this could be kept open like indefinitely.
Wants to do it before the harm gets to be irreparable. And again, if the Republicans can't come to the table and do something reasonable on this and make sure that people can afford their health care and that the whole private commercial market also doesn't see skyrocketing increases, then shame on them.
What do you say
It's
to
almost
the
done.
millions of Americans who are already in the Obamacare exchanges, seeing premiums skyrocketed, who were hoping because of what you all said that they would get answers on what their premiums would be now, but have to wait weeks longer since you've decided to open the government without immediate action on the subsidies?
Well, as Senator Hassan said so well, the Republicans weren't providing any commitment or even a willingness to vote or a willingness to discuss extending the premium tax credits. We have the opportunity to do that now, and we will hold their feet to the fire.
And just quick, most of us up here in the group of 8 that voted for this tonight have voted repeatedly with the Democratic strategy of we're not opening and we want you to take action on the
Cornyn has landed at the Dole's airport. Okay, so the molested by TSA agent theory was correct. So it'll probably be a little while before he makes it over to the actual Capitol building. Again, like, the vote's pretty much a done deal, guys. There's no reason to believe that Cornyn's going to not vote yes.
ACA tax credit. But after 40 days, it wasn't going to work. So here we are in a situation, and this was the reality. SNAP recipients suffering, nothing happening on ACA. The vote tonight will be full, and not just last year's, but full and robust SNAP funding for SNAP recipients and a path on the ACA. So from suffering and no path, we've now got robust benefits and a path. And that's what we tell our constituents.
Senator, if I could just ask, there's already calls now from the Democrats in the House that are saying Leader Schumer should step aside, he should be replaced. You know, the 8 of you today voting with Republicans to advance this plan to reopen the government, does that just further the divides within the Democratic Party right now?
No. When I talk to my constituents in New Hampshire, you know what they say to me? They say, why can't you all just work together to address the problems that are facing this country?
Oh, yeah. That's, yeah, Oh, I'm sure. 100%. That's what Democrats are saying across the country right now. Why can't you work with Republicans more closely to pass the Republican CR? Oh, I'm sure. 100%. Yeah, that's definitely like the word on the street right now.
We put the Senate back on a path to start doing that today, and we're going to continue to work that
By
way.
voting for their bill.
If the president doesn't agree and Republicans block the extension of AC subsidies, would you guys be willing to vote again against government funding in January when this funding runs out?
That's certainly an option that I think everybody will consider. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Or in other words, like, we'll side with the party until someone steps in and tells us to sign with the Republicans again. It's the revolving villain strategy, right? Where you, and I don't think it's a coincidence that it's exactly 60-40, by the way. I think that all of those potential yes votes from the Democrats met and they were like, who's going to take the fall? They probably drew straws, you know? Who here is, yeah, it's all planned. There are probably 20 or 30 Democrats in the Senate who would just do anything. Anything, you know, you could wave some cash in front of them. It doesn't matter. People with no principles whatsoever. And they would, you know, just who's going to take the fall this time? This time Schumer didn't have to take the fall. You know, Ossoff didn't have to, but they will. Is there any hope left anymore? Can you, I'm just begging, and this just a reminder to everyone, stop being a massive fucking pussy, okay? Your great whatever parents survived wars and the Black Plague, okay? Stop being a fucking, is there any hope anymore? Were you, was your hope for the future hinging on the competence of Senate Democrats? Was that the fucking horse you put your ticket on? You woke up every morning and you were like, well, I've got personal projects, I've got a job, I'm trying to work out, lose some weight, you know, I've got like relationships to maintain and people in my family to care for, but all of that's hinging on the Senate Democrats. You know, is that how you've been living your life? Because if so, it's fucking over, dog. It's hopeless. And frankly, there's no point anymore. But if you've lived your life for any reason other than the competence of Senate Democrats, then I think there might be a path forward. Things were going well. Now we're getting hit with brutal reality again. Maybe you forgot. I didn't. I didn't forget. This whole time I've said I'm surprised the shutdown's held for as long as it did. The Democrats have held for as long as they did. I said Mamdani's victory is a wedge against people like Schumer. This isn't about the Democrats. The Democrats hate you. The Democrats want you dead, man. Okay? They're all on fucking Little St. James 2 right now. They don't give a fuck about you, all right? It's not about Democrats versus Republicans, because if it was, Republicans have already won that fight. They did a decade ago, okay? It's about people like Mamdani, like Katie Wilson, against the Democrats until they're strong enough to beat the Republicans. Thankfully, the Republicans are helping all of us out by weakening themselves by doing consistently unpopular shit. Vosh, I was literally only living because I believed in the integrity of Senate Dems. Please do not put my name in your note on your way out, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. Put us on instead. Put us on instead. Let me send this over to the fucking editors. Tempest, are you here? I don't have to type, right? I don't want to type. I'm ending it all if I have to type right now. I'm not, that was a joke in Minecraft type shit. Fuck, Thana got to it first. Okay, sent over 2 segments, pre and post conference watching, maybe just like Dems, bold to GOP, vote to reopen government without health care, and Traitor Dems hold traitor press conference. Type shit. Very good. With all the passion of 26 words per minute. Fuck you. So the shutdown is over. What happens now? Thralix8, have you typed anything into my chat that wasn't a direct question to me that could be answered by paying attention? Out of curiosity, Thralix8. I'm just wondering. Let me take a look at your chat log. Oof. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Thralix8, you know you don't have to @ like you don't have to add the @ symbol. You can just type my name. But don't type it this much, okay? Type shit. You don't even type shit. Call yourself a chatter. Honestly. All right, so the Republic is done. Or something. I don't know. Seems they're re-holding the vote.
Ms. Blunt Rochester, no. Mrs. Murray, no.
There is still a chance, not a big one, a very small one, that a vote flips on the second roll call vote, you know? Is he back yet? I don't think so. Mike Lee, please, Mike Lee. Do it for Hyperborea. Please, God. Please don't give me hope. You shouldn't hope for that. I'm saying there's an incredibly slim chance. I wouldn't hitch your wagon to that, you know.
Mr. Wyden, no.
What do you say to running third party to replace Dems? I don't think the way our political system is set up in this country makes third parties like just ineffective by default. Unfortunately, it's a mathematical guarantee that the third party gets squeezed out. What we need to do is aggressively primary everyone in the Democratic Party. We need to like over-involve ourselves, you know, on every level. There need to be consequences for this. Look, at the end of the day, the Democratic Party is just an empty framework. It's an apparatus. It's a vessel that can be filled. If you remove the current content
Mr. Van Hollen, no.
And fill it with yourself, there you go, you know? I don't really care about like the official based party of the United States doesn't have to be called like the American Communist Party or whatever. I don't give a shit if it's called the Democratic Party. Could you do a party inside the party like the Justice Dems but more aggressive? That's called a caucus. And, I mean, sure. Unfortunately, the squad doesn't do shit.
Mr. Crapo, aye.
Going back to the PBS feed so I can appreciate this dope fit. It's actually not that bad. Like, you know, relative to the current standards. Why are they lounging there? These are staff, and they're all sitting around waiting for Cornyn. Skinny belt. Belts should be skinny if you're wearing them with a suit. Will Cornyn vote no? No. ETA on Cornyn? We don't... There is no ETA on Cornyn. We don't... He's coming in from the airport. Like, there's not, like, a helicopter following his car. He might take hours to get here. That's not a suit. A suit is a matching jacket with pants. That's a jacket with odd pants. Sure, fine. You should wear a skinny belt if you're wearing it with tailored clothing. In this case, a classic Ivy look. Navy blazer, khaki chinos, and a striped tie. Really, it's textbook. Bet you that collar is buttoned down, too. No, it's fair, Shmi. I'm autistic, too. Well... This is from an hour ago.
Senator from Vermont.
I understand that the way the process has been developed, it is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do, because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current health care system is broken, it is dysfunctional, it is cruel, it is by far the most expensive health care system in the world, and the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee health care to all people as a human right, covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect. And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont and throughout this country, for certain groups of people, it will be a tripling and a quadrupling of their premiums. There are people who will now be paying 50% of their limited incomes for health care. Does anybody in the world think that makes sense? And if this resolution is passed tonight, we are on a pathway to throw 15 million Americans off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. 15 million. Our job is to create universal health care. Guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child, not throw 15 million people off the health care they have, low-income and working-class people. And my friends know what you are voting on. Studies are out there that when you throw 15 million people off of health care,
Healthcare in the U.S. is literally dead. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. There have been huge Medicaid cuts. We know that. A lot of people are getting kicked off Medicaid. And for people who get their health care off the ACA open marketplace, for a lot of them, the cost of their premiums is going to skyrocket. Even for people who don't get their health care from the marketplace, their costs will still go up in the long run because the reduction in the total pool of people who are insured by health care means that more people who pay into it will be higher risk, which are like... This is everyone will suffer for this, but mostly, at least initially, the people who and we're talking tens of millions of people, by the way, not a small number at all. Huge number of people. Vosh, I pay $14,400 a year plus a $5,000 deductible right now. That's great. Are you ready for it to double? Just asking. Because premiums are up 26% even without the ACA tax subsidy removal, which only lasts until the end of the year. The average ACA marketplace premium, annual premium, you know, how much you pay over the year, we looked at it state by state. You know it's going to be $20,000, $30,000? Yeah, 25, 30. Depends on the state exactly. We're talking a doubling, maybe a tripling. More than you pay for your rent, I bet. You know, in a lot of cases. Tens of millions of Americans.
some 50,000 of our fellow Americans will die unnecessarily every single year. Anyone think that's funny? Something to laugh at? Something to just go past?
They do think it's funny.
50,000 Americans die unnecessarily. Now, I know it's
my employer-based plan doubled. It's like $200 a month now. Yeah, because even for them, the cost has raised considerably. And in addition to that, you know, as more and more people drop off healthcare, the cost per person is going to increase as well, whether or not you get it through employment.
This resolution that the majority leader is going to say, well, Democrats can put together their own bill, and it'll come to the floor here in the Senate for a vote. As everybody here knows, that is a totally meaningless gesture. You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up, and the President of the United States certainly will not sign it.
Will the effects be felt immediately? 26% increase in premiums on average across the board will be felt immediately. You've probably already noticed that they've gone up if you pay off the marketplace. As for the elimination of the ACA tax subsidy, that's till the end of the year. However, many of you have probably already gotten emails or notifications from your insurance provider telling you, hey, just to let you guys know, right now, this is what the number is going to look like.
So, Mr. President, I hope that anybody here who is thinking of voting for this reconsiders goes back home and talks to their constituents and asks them what it will mean if their health care premiums are doubled or tripled. Thank you, Mr. President.
The Democratic leader.
Cool.
Mr. President.
The other guy.
America is in the midst of a Republican-made health care crisis, worse than anything the American people have seen in decades. Republicans have spent the past 10 months dismantling the health care system, skyrocketing costs, and making every day harder for American families. Because of Republicans, Americans are going to suffer immensely.
Remember, he orchestrated this. He's just voted no himself so that he doesn't have to take the heat.
As this health care crisis gets worse. Democrats have been fighting to end this crisis over and over again. Democrats have wanted to lower costs, but Republicans fought us every step of the way. We gave Republicans not one, not two, but 3 chances this year to extend the ACA premium tax credits. Republicans said no every time. On Friday, we offered Republicans a compromise a proposal that would extend the ACA tax credits for a year and open up the government at the same time. They once again said no. And when they said no on our compromise, they showed that they are against any health care reform. Instead, they passed the biggest health care cuts in our nation's history just to give tax breaks to billionaires. And even then, they weren't satisfied with merely closing hospitals and community health clinics. They callously did nothing to deal with the looming crisis of ACA credits. Premiums will spike by thousands of dollars a month. Millions will lose insurance. Democrats have sounded...
Bosh, if one of the Dem traitors grows a spine and flips their vote, Schumer will probably flip his. Yeah, probably. That's fun stuff, man. Some of these numbers. ACA monthly premium spikes. Astrid, $1,400 to $1,876. $28 to $733. $603 up to $2,134. Oh, it's very good. It's very good. Really, really, really good stuff.
The alarm. We have demanded for months to meet with the Republican leadership. But Republican leaders refuse to even discuss the issue, let alone negotiate it. We've asked them to meet in the summer and throughout the shutdown. To this day, Republicans still say no. We asked President Trump to step in and meet with us to deliver lower health care for Americans, and instead, Donald Trump has taken the American people hostage. From cutting off food aid to hungry families and vets and seniors and kids, to manufacturing flight cancellations, to cutting off home heating aid, while he builds a billion-dollar ballroom with gold-plated toilets. Therefore, I must vote no. This health care crisis is so severe, so urgent, so devastating for families back home that I cannot in good faith support this CR that fails to address the health care crisis. But let me be clear.
It's so funny that he almost certainly would have voted for it if he felt he had to. And if it wasn't for the backlash he knew he'd receive, you know?
However this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin. And make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting this health care trauma on them. Donald Trump and the Republicans. Americans will remember Republican intransigence every time they make a sky-high payment on health insurance. So we are going to fight legislatively, fight back home, fight in the courts, and bring this fight in the elections. Health care costs made a major impact on the 2025 election, and they will certainly have an even greater impact on the 2026 election. So in conclusion,
it should probably go without saying, but he also looks like absolute shit. Why the fuck is his tie twisted like that?
Contrast between the two parties is crystal clear. Republicans are the party hell-bent on taking people's health care away, all to bow to the billionaire elite and special interests. Democrats are united as the party of lower health care costs and improving our health care system. We will not give up this fight. We will deliver.
Any thought on Spanberg's contribution to the vote? Yeah, I did appreciate that. The Virginia governor-elect Spanberg won in like an unexpected blowout, in large part because people's fury at the Republicans, and the first fucking thing she does after winning is say, I really think we should capitulate more to the Republicans.
Well, Virginia boasts one of the highest numbers of federal workers in the country, and as you know, many of them are not getting paid. You know, some in your party look at your election on Tuesday and the win in New Jersey and say that is permission to hold the line in Congress and refuse to fund the government or fold on the shutdown. Should congressional Democrats view your victory that way?
Absolutely not. our victory was a victory that was based on a campaign that was addressing concerns related to costs and chaos. My campaign across the past 2 years have been focused on hearing the challenges that people are facing all across Virginia.
This is why I don't care about a tattoo, anything to get actual humans into the shit-ass party. Dude, unironically, like the fucking... It's insane how far the moderate Democrats are lowering the bar. Like, anyone, fucking anyone, please, holy shit. I don't even care, just anyone. We're dying over here, man. Is it surprising she's not a moderate Dem? No, I'm not surprised. I know she's a moderate Dem, just, you know.
It's rising costs in healthcare, housing, energy.
She's literally a fucking CIA agent turned consultant. She went from working as a CIA agent abroad during the war on terror to being a domestic consultant. I mean, just like it's...
And it's the chaos coming out of Washington that has been impacting Virginians so severely, beginning with the DOGE efforts, of course, continuing with chaotic trade policies, and now in this government shutdown. Virginians need to, and Virginians want to see the government reopen. And my expectation is that we will see a Congress, a Senate, and ultimately a president driving us in that direction.
But should congressional Democrats open the government and then talk about health care?
The government needs to open, and it needs to open immediately. We need the president to demonstrate leadership, bringing people together, endeavoring to get through whatever negotiations need to get through, whether it's before or after. My priority is focusing on the needs and the devastation, frankly, that more than 300,000 Virginians are facing. And that's just the federal employees, government contractors. They will never get made whole. The entirety of Virginia's economy is impacted by this shutdown, just as we've been impacted by DOGE attacks, and the government needs to reopen quickly.
Yay.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we're already paying the highest prices in the world for health care. Number 2, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of...
We need litmus tests. Yeah, one of the reasons the Democratic Party is like this is because the party is of the opinion that there should be like no standard of behavior once you're in it, you know? Well, that's not entirely true. They will weaponize idpull against you. They will idpull the fuck out of you if it's ever expedient, you know, like Elizabeth Warren's bullshit to Bernie or Hillary Clinton's. But with regards to the stuff that actually matters, they don't care. Like no one, like Fetterman has just been an open Republican for years now, and no one in the Democratic Party ever talks about it. No one in the party is ever like, yeah, he's a fucking traitor who lied to his constituents, and you can bet they're going to be voting him out the next chance they get. They don't do that. To them, they're like, oh well.
Work to do, but to be honest with you,
we know
tonight was not a good night. Thank you.
Most of the filing deadlines passed to primary Dems. They feel, yeah, they know. It doesn't fucking matter. They know. It's so weird because that type of behavior will get you expelled from caucus and basically any other party system in the West. Honestly. Happy to hear that, Ben. Yeah, no, it really is. It at the end of the day, it just comes down to, like, if you signal over and over and over again that you have no standards, then people will take advantage of you for it. Republicans, the Democrats, and the Democrats to us, you know? It seems like there are no consequences. Kamala Harris is still quite popular, you know? Quite popular to a lot of Democrats, in spite, you know, it's such an unacceptable level of capitulation, you know, to the Republicans. How is she popular? Because a lot of people just don't follow this day to day, you know? They see a couple of news clips. They know that I bet you the majority of Democrat voters aren't even aware of the fact that after the election, she disappeared for 6 months. I bet you 100%. They don't even know, because why would they know? You know, why would they know that? I don't know. I'm just not seeing how we're supposed to have hope of anything changing this country if the Dems keep throwing themselves in a fire. Well, yeah. So we have to vote for Dems that don't throw themselves in a fire. I mean, really, that's it. That's the only. You know, do you think that Mamdani would do this if he was voted in as a senator? I don't. You know, there's a point where cynicism becomes stupid, right? You know, you're just being stupid and belligerent. No, of course he wouldn't. Absolutely not. Did Bernie? No, Bernie wouldn't. There are good people out there. You know, you just have to have the right measure for it. That's it. You know, that's it. You just have to. We are entering an era of populism. The Republicans found their candidate early. Maybe we take a while to get to ours, but these trends are still building in that direction. But AOC is not doing much, and she's one of the good ones. Yeah, that's true. She is, I think, a gigantic pussy. And to an extent, Bernie has been as well, though I'm willing to give him a lot more leeway because he's been doing this for 50 million years, you know? I mean, I feel like he's a little more set in his ways. AOC is so young. And in the future, Mamdani will grow on trees. That's true. Nervous cheek tick? What the fuck are you talking about? Do I have something on my face? I don't see anything. The Voting Rights Act is next. Yeah, if you're a white male, you need to buy land now so you're able to vote in the future. Hey, Vosh, will this hurt the midterms? I can't see the future. It'll probably have an effect on the midterms, sure. River's sleeping on the PC. We still waiting on the vote? Not really, no. Not really. Do you think there's a chance the other Dems are pissed enough to expel the turncoats? Do you think that's the thing that can happen? Do you think that senators can expel other senators? I'm sorry, Schumer, I feel like I couldn't do a damn thing about it. Fuck! Didn't read fast enough. Tajiri, thank you for the $20. The worst part is that Dems didn't get guarantees on anything, including back pay for laid-off workers. Yeah, but have you considered that, like, they got the government open? Yeah, I don't know. Listen, in fairness, I have tried to shield you guys from this degree of disappointment by reminding you over and over and over again that moderate Democrats are complicit, that the majority of Democrats in Congress, House, Senate, whatever, governor, you know, I don't care, are just empty stooges for the interests that work through them, you know? Most politicians in most countries are like that to some extent. I think that because this country has the most money in it, our politicians are disproportionately like that, disproportionately insincere. That doesn't mean that there are no sincere politicians. Of course there are. They're still people. For real, no cap ass hair. Can I say something wildly inappropriate? I never see Asians wearing dress sneakers. They're always wearing proper shoes with suits. Whenever I see dress sneakers, it's like it's white people and Middle Eastern people. Whenever I see Asians wearing a suit, they're wearing proper dress shoes with them. You can make of that what you want. Free Palestine? Well, maybe don't. Once they get access to dress sneakers, it's all over. That was deeply random. Well, there was the kid here had the dress shoes on, and then the yee-ass haircut white boy who just walked off screen had the dress sneakers, and I hate dress sneakers. Zeron just tweeted, this deal dramatically hikes healthcare premiums and only exacerbates the affordability crisis. It should be rejected, as should any politics willing to compromise on the basic needs of working people. Type shit. Expulsion is a power of the Senate. Yeah, but like that's that power is like, what, didn't they do all of that during the Civil War? Like every guy who's ever been expelled from the Senate, they were Confederates in the Civil War. That's not happening to Democratic senators for being, you know, pussies or complicit or whatever. They need to be voted out. Why is God censored in your chat? Because I respect the Lord, and don't take his name in vain, okay? Shut the fuck up. Are dress sneakers acceptable with any fit? No. Genuinely, they're a wretched kind of footwear. They're ugly as sin, and they're bad at what they do. And the prices brands charge for them, too. You might as well just get You do realize that, like, a pair of leather shoes that fit you properly, once you've spent just a day or two breaking them in, will be really comfortable. Right? There's a reason why humans wore leather shoes for like all of human history. Do you think that everyone was walking around with foot blisters all the time until we invented like foam padding? Like everyone all the time. The people who's like soldiers in the field, people who walked all day, all these people wearing leather shoes, their feet hurt all the time up until foam sneakers got invented like 70 years ago or something? Kinda, yeah? No. Jesus, no. I got nice leather loafers because of you, and they're incredibly comfortable. I didn't get them for a while because I thought they were uncomfortable. Yeah, it's just a little break-in period, but once you... Sorry, I need 4 inches of straight marshmallow, but that shit is literally, like, bad for your feet in the long run. Because the shoe's constantly degrading. It's not like leather that breaks in and molds to the shape of your foot. It's like the foam degrades, and your feet never find firm footing on the sole because you're walking on a marshmallow, you know? They had cork, it wasn't just leather. Yeah, well, yes, most good leather shoes will have cork in it as well. Bad for your back, too? Yeah, it's bad for your back to... If you're wearing heavily padded sneakers, I hope you're doing it to run, like, because those are running shoes. If you're standing around all day, that shit's bad for your back. Dutch wooden clog arc incoming, perhaps? You know those are really comfortable, right? Hot take: shoes need advancement. No, they don't. We mastered this shit hundreds of years ago. How does one really learn to buy high-quality shoes? I mean, you have to find the right brands, and it'll be expensive, sure, but if you get a pair that fits you well, you can wear them forever, and they'll last, like, basically for the rest of your life. You can get the soles replaced if they're Goodyear welted. It's all good. A Doc Martens worth it? Doc Martens aren't really leather. Not really. Not in the way I'm talking about. I mean, they're fine. They're, like, cool gay shoes if you're gay. They're fine. They're a good Doc Martens. I'm not anti-Doc Martens. But I'm talking about, like, good leather shoes. What's a good leather shoe run price-wise? I don't know. In America, you can get, like, you can get pretty excellent, leather shoes from Allen Edmonds. They tend to run 300 to 500. But if you can get like a factory second sale and usually get them down to 200. My favorite pair of boots is from Allen Edmonds, and they're quite nice. You know what? Since we're waiting on fucking Cornyn to show up or whatever, I'm gonna show you my boot. Rare boot reveal. Okay? All right. Rare boot reveal. Look, this is probably after, like, I don't know, fucking 100 wears or some shit. I wear these all the fucking time. They are so comfortable, you know? It's just a light brown Chelsea boot from Allen Edmonds, you know? So autumnal. They're so fucking comfy, man. When I first wore these, they were like stiff as hell and my feet hurt a little bit, but now they're like, look at how soft this is. Like, it's so molded to my feet, you know? Full grain? Yeah, of course full grain.
Mr. Cornyn,
It's comfy as hell. Your feet are smaller than I'd expect. I usually wear like size 12 or size 13. Cornyn arrives. Ah. Well, there you go. He voted aye. Oh, you all just heard that? I didn't have my earbuds in. They just look small in your hand then? Oh, I have big hands. I usually wear sneakers size 12 or 13, but for boots or like leather shoes or anything else that's fitted to your foot, I typically wear 11. Those are 10.5s because Allen Edmond runs a little bit big. Those are 10.5 triple E. I've got wide feet. That's cool, Newts. It feels good to break that shit in, you know? 550 is insane for some boots. Yeah, 550 is definitely like if you're spending 550 on a pair of boots.
On this vote, the yeas are 60 and the nays are 40.
There it is.
3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn, having voted in the affirmative. The motion upon reconsideration is agreed to.
Yay. Who the fuck is clapping? Republicans? I would imagine. Does it go to the House now? Yes, but Republicans have the votes because there's no filibuster there. Are you sticking around for the House vote? That's not tonight. But also we know how it's going to go. There's no filibuster. What about a veto? There's no veto in the House. Bosch, the House doesn't need to vote. This is something the House already passed. No, there have been alterations to it that requires the House to vote on it. The president could veto? Yeah, Trump could veto. Yeah, that's true. Trump could veto. I bought a pair of leather shoes that were $150 for $50 at the Nordstrom rack in 1989. I spent $20 every 2 years to get resold and heddled, and they lasted until the chat reloaded, I didn't see. 1995. Yeah, no, like a good pair of leather shoes can theoretically pretty much like last your whole life, you know? Is Canada faring any better than America? Yes, but like not super great. Why are they still there if the votes went through? Because it's the Senate, man. Most of these people are staff, and also they're all colleagues. They're talking, they're shooting the shit. They're talking about, I don't know, their favorite subjects, graft and pedophilia. It's their job, man. Anyway, I've said it before. Look, most important thing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The one part of your life where you should never cheap out is anything involving ergonomics. Bed, chairs, shoes. Or at least some of your shoes. No offense, but I don't like Chelsea boots. I'm not offended by that at all. Is this really the time for fashion talk? Yeah, I would say so. I just don't like the idea of wearing leather. It irks me. Fashion taste is subjective. But I'm not talking about taste in terms of appearance. I'm saying factually that people should wear leather shoes more. You know, there's a reason everyone did that for ages. If you get a good pair, like it becomes very comfortable. I can walk around with these forever, man. I can walk around with these forever, and they will last forever, you know? They're so fucking soft now. Oh yeah, do it right now? Well, I don't have any socks on, you know. Is the sole leather? Yeah. You've got everything's leather, you know. You've got the you know, the boot, and then the upper sole and the cork padding in between, and then the bottom sole. You've got it's a boot, you know, it's a boot. They're booting and scooting. Put them on anyway. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know if I can fucking show. They're comfy. They're comfy boots. They're comfy boots. Look, you can see me wiggle my toes in them. That's how soft they are, man. Look at that. I can wiggle my toes in them. See? You break in some leather. It's full grain leather. It's not thin leather. It's a solid bit of leather. I can wiggle around. Bet you can't do that in your fucking sneakers. Maybe a little bit. Wow. There we go. That's actually impressive. I mean, you know, are they waterproof? Well, these aren't really meant for outdoor. I think with a Goodyear welt they should be. I think they should be. I mean, maybe not waterproof like this, for example, is a elastic. It's, you know, the water won't go through the leather. Do you wax them? What's the care for those? Every 6 months or so. Okay, here's what you do to care for leather shoes. Okay, look, very simple. You have to have a brush, just some kind of brush. All right, and then every once in a while you get the dust off of it, all the dust and dirt. Easy peasy, right? You just keep it basic clean, and then maybe twice a year, okay, whenever it needs it, you do a little bit of saddle soap. It's just a kind of soap for leather, like leather saddles. You put it on, scrub, wipe, And then you apply a bit of oil, you know, like some leather conditioner. Put that on. Do. Bam. Takes 5 minutes, twice a year, keeps it beautiful and shiny, okay? What if you nick them? Yeah, I mean, it's flesh, you know. Usually it heals up if you treat. There's some nicks here. I don't really care. I mean, you know, they're boots. They're meant to be durable. It heals. Is it alive still? Well, no, it's not alive still, but leather's very, very durable. How do they handle snow? I mean, the snow doesn't hurt them, you know? Where do you get boots like that? Those are Alan Edmonds. Alan Edmonds, Liverpool, Chelsea boot, specifically. In terms of warmth, it's a boot. You know, it's not cold. Right now they're $550, but I only paid $400 for mine, and I've seen them go for as low as $250 for their factory seconds. Yeah, you got to go for the factory seconds if you're interested in like the best price point. British boots? Nope, not British at all, my friend. Alan Edmonds is a classic American brand. Made in America, too, is my understanding at least. And that being said, where is the factory second? Here we go. That's a great price. Yeah, $350 for one of these? Absolutely. You kidding me, bucko? That's not bad, right? Look at it. Look at how handsome he is. You could be that handsome. Black leather looks so much nice. Well, if you want them to be black, they can be black. You know, whatever you prefer. How to get factory seconds? You buy them. Alan Edmonds has always offered a lot of those. It just means that those boots don't quite match up to their standards from production. But in my experience, from what I've heard, the factory second boots are usually still pretty great. Do you recommend any other types of leather shoes? I don't know. I just think a pair of leather boots is pretty, you know, pretty easy to work with. I mean, you want a nice pair of derbies, right? Or what about fuck. What's the not derbies? Come on, the ones that have the fuck. What are they called? I'm blanking. I have some in a rough out leather that I got from Buck Mason. Oxfords? No. Boat shoes? Moccasins are good. But what I was come on, they're chukkas. Chukkas are super versatile. You feel about loafers? Got some right behind me. Here, look, Thursday sells chukkas for only $160. Thursday, by the way, great a great value brand to get high quality shoes. Great value brand. They kind of cater to more of a narrow foot though. If you've got wide feet, you know, you're going to want to look at some reviews online to figure that out. How do you write that? Chukkas. But yeah, Thursday tends to be pretty narrow. Yeah, you can GW Stone or... Does this thing combust if wet? Well, it depends on the type of shoe. This is suede, so no, don't get this wet. But if it's made of full grain leather is effectively waterproof. The only way, I mean, your skin's waterproof, isn't it? To a point. Well, the water tends to get in through the stitching. Alan Edmonds produces in Dominica. The Dominican Republic? With more than 98% of shoes sold in the U.S. being produced overseas, Allen Edmonds is among a small minority of companies producing shoes domestically. Committed to keeping manufacturing in the U.S. Manufacturing moved its hand-sewn production to a new company-owned factory in the Dominican Republic. Shoe uppers for the Allen Edmond hand-sewn collection are cut and sewn in the Dominican Republic. Raw materials are sent from the U.S. for sewing, then shipped to Port Washington, Wisconsin for completion. Okay, yeah. Fell out a little bit. Chicken and beans win. I'll be done soon, my love. I'm not against stuff being made outside the U.S., by the way. I want ethical production standards, of course. But some of my favorite clothing is made in China, even. Ralph Lauren and Double RL both have production facilities in China and Vietnam. And, you know, because of the quality of the garments, usually those are relatively well-to-do textile workers, you know? It's like the people who are making your iPhones in China, those aren't like, you know, the worst treated workers. But there's a lot of variance there. No, anyway. As of 2022, Allen Edmonds employs 135 craftspeople, many of whom are second and third generation makers, and has an apprentice program to train new generations of craftspeople. Each shoe goes through a 212-step process and will see up to 60 different craftspeople before the shoe is completed. Dang. How do you feel about Bluntstones? Not my favorite, personally. I don't like the double pull-up look to it. I just don't like the look myself. But they're good. They're good shoes, you know. Good shoes. What do you think of these pants? I don't know. I can't. There's a whole process. A whole process. Does LL Bean have good stuff? I mean, they used to. They used to. Still playing Expedition 33 tonight? No, probably not. If I streamed today, I would have played it. But that was if the stream was like me choosing to stream. I didn't choose to stream. I woke up, I didn't wake up. I was out and saw on my phone that the country was imploding. Yeah, I got called in, basically. I wouldn't have streamed otherwise. So thank Schumer for that, at least. How do you feel about PNW logger boots? Like White's? White's is an extremely respected brand name in like the PNW boot. Here's my problem, okay? Because of my chest injury, I don't really like bending down to lace up my boots. I like boots that I can just pull on, you know? So I like Chelsea boots. I like zip-up boots, you know? I like Western boots. Do you get more longevity for the price you pay at Thursday? Well, Thursday is on the cheaper end, or one of the cheapest actually, for like full grain Goodyear welted leather shoes. But I've heard Thursday's good quality. You know, I'm certainly not smearing them at all. You can go, River. River, get your butt out there. If you're leaving, you're leaving. I got some Thursday Premiere high tops. Nice. But those aren't leather, so, or at least they're not the kind of leather I'm talking about, so I don't really have any strong opinions on them. I'm glad they're good, though. Very glad. Chelsea Zip-Up Western, got it. I do quite like, I actually saw them today in person. I do quite like the Allen Edmonds zip-up boot. Here, hold on one second. Shoes, boots, shop all zero shoe. I don't know what zero shoes are. I will find it. Here we go. The Tompkins zip-up boot. It's also got kind of a Western detailing to it that I find charming. See, I think this is a very versatile boot. You know? Very versatile. A boot. Next pair of shoes I get is probably going to be a pair of Tacova Roper boots, though. Tacovas are a very trusted brand in... holy shit! They got their cashew rough out Roper boots down to fucking $99. Here, these sons of bitches. This is the next one I'm probably going to get. I wear so much Western stuff outside, guys. I wear so much Western stuff. But yeah, they're famous for these. I don't care for the way they're styling it here necessarily. But yeah, that's a handsome Roper boot right there. Have we just given up on American politics? What do you want me to do, man? I'll be here tomorrow. What clothing item would you gift a guy? Depends on the guy. What socks do you wear with your boots? You can wear whatever. They do make boot socks, you know. Anyway. It depends on the kind of injury, Ken Milcarton. But for me, it's been fine. All right. Anyway, I love you all very, very much. I did not anticipate streaming today. I didn't really want to stream today. Unfortunately, I was only called here by the disaster that has taken place. The disaster is also, like, really bad, by the way. I'm going to read donuts tomorrow. I was supposed to eat when I got back home. I haven't eaten today. At all. It's 8 p.m. I haven't eaten today. I got back home. We were gonna make chicken. I put rice on. I haven't eaten. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll be here tomorrow, you know, in a normal capacity. Maybe we'll do a bit of politics and then we'll play some E33, you know? I think I'd like that. Gotta have some fun. Take care. I'll see you soon. I'll read the donuts. Thank you. I love you. Take care.